Hello, chat. Today we will be discussing Kanye, the British horror. I'm not kidding. The British press was horrified. I'm sure they have never experienced something like this. They never went to a liberal campus in order to hear what the decent left people are saying about the Jewish community. They never seen pornography on their timeline. They are absolutely horrified. Yes, like for those of you who don't know, Kanye West also shared pornography on his timeline on Twitter. And it was the disgusting type, the one with real people. Ugh. Like, it didn't even have, like, 2D women. It didn't have, like, ushkushi anime ladies with big fat tits. No, it had, like, actual, real people doing it on his timeline. And again, like, the left is horrified. They've never seen something like that. Now, if the woman had a penis, the left would have embraced that. They would have said that it's stunning and brave, but, you know, like, heteronormativity is something that they're not used to. Seeing beautiful women is something foreign and alien for the leftist journalists, and so they were absolutely horrified. We're going to be reading the article later on. You know, like, I definitely think that the British government should intervene and prevent this article from reaching the public, because, you know, the Russians may find out how to destroy the British society. Like, all you have to do is to tweet about the Jewish people, right? Like, if Putin has access to a computer, he can tweet about the Jewish people, and this horrifies the British. It completely demoralizes them. Right. Let's discuss some other things that happened while we get more people joining our show. Apparently, the Department of Education has been abolished in the United States, which is interesting because I didn't think it's possible. I thought that abolishing a department is actually a lot more difficult. I thought that the president can, fire everyone from the department, but the laws and regulations still remain. For those of you who don't know, the Department of Education was an absolute colossal failure. And leftists don't want to look into this because once they establish a government program, they only care about the bureaucracy. They only care about the way it functions, but not the results. Like, they never quantify the results of a government program. Like, in the private sector, many things are constantly being quantified, but in the government, it's just like how many people it's employing, how many people it's paying. Well, if we abolish it, we're going to have to fire 1,000 people. That's cruel and unjust. Seriously, like, I talk with some people that work with politicians. This is exactly how they're thinking. And so in the case of the Department of Education, there were many grifts that were done, including Bill Gates. And there was another program, No Kid Left Behind, right? Like, a lot of people got paid a lot of taxpayer money in order to push these programs. So the grift went there. And of course, you know, the mentality, the ideology of No Kid Left Behind is something that I really hate. It's basically saying that the teacher should look at the dumbest kid in the class and start teaching for that kid. And the reality is that, no, that's not how you're supposed to work, because for some kids may not like a particular subject while others do. And so if you have, you know, a person that's like really good at trigonometry and he's like amazing at it. If you have a teacher that's going to just say like, all right, little Billy, let's focus on 2 plus 2. How much does that equal, right? Like, the trigonometry kid is going to get incredibly bored, is going to get incredibly demotivated, and you're basically discriminating against the top. Like why are the most bright students at fault for having shitty teachers? And it's not the fault of the teachers because the government is forcing them to take care of the dumbest kid. Like why do we have more empathy and compassion for the dumbest kid than we have for the smartest kid? Because at the end of the day, the smartest kid needs motivation as well. Like, he actually does need to be stimulated, to be trained to be better, right? But like, if you focus on the dumbest kid, then everyone that's above average gets left behind. And so this program was absolutely useless. Then you have the horror, that's the Common Core. But the more interesting thing is that the Department of Education is not really that old. I think it's like 2, maybe 3 decades. But now people are horrified. It's like, how will the government function? How will the school systems work without the Department of Education? This is a mystery that no one is able to solve. And I said on many occasions that if there was a government program where you would take 6 months old kids in order to learn how to walk, like there would be a nurse there that, teaches the 6 months old how to walk. In a couple of decades, people will unironically believe that without the government, human beings cannot walk. And this is the sad situation we're in. Real and 2D, both good? No. Like, one of them is shameful behavior. I'm sorry. Like, you're not a person of culture if you're showing real 3D people. In my day, 1980s, the dumb kids went to the learning center in the school for extra help so they didn't slow down the rest of the class. Yeah, this is exactly what happened in my country. So, like, obviously, I really hate the way that the school system is set up. I have, like, a lot of animosity and negative things to say about it. But, like, no one was good at every single class. And so, like, you had classes, like, for me, math, for instance, I wasn't really good at math. I mean, I was good at math in the sense that I passed and I got okay grades, but it wasn't my favorite subject. And once you start, like, replacing every single number with a letter, and you reach that level of math where you're doing the thing with the complex numbers and the integrals and shit, it's like, oh, God. But like, yeah, I actually had my parents get me a tutor, right? Because I was actually struggling with math. I didn't understand a lot of the shit. And, so, like, it wasn't the responsibility of my classmates to, wait for me, to waste their time. Like, no. They were going forward, and I had a tutor that would try to explain the lesson again. So it is what it is. The thing is also, like, in the United States, it's about behavior. Like, I see a school where a teacher confiscates a kid's Nintendo. And, like, some people are asking, like, was she in the right to do it or not? That's one conversation. But the kid then went and just assaulted the teacher and hospitalized her. Right? Like, he beat her until she was unconscious. Like, that thing just doesn't happen in my country. And so, like, once that happened, like, it's okay, like, America has, like, 350 million people, like, maybe you do have, like, some people that are indeed aggressive. But what actually happened is that now you had Karens on TikTok defending, it's like, oh, the kid has autism, be easy on him, don't send him to prison. It's like, what are you talking about? He definitely needs to go to prison. He hospitalized a woman. Why would you want that person on the streets, huh? Would you want him in your neighborhood? And so, the thing is, like, when you have kids like that, like, it doesn't matter the type of teacher that you have. Like, you can have the best teacher in the world with the best schooling system, but if they're undisciplined and they just don't listen and they have no respect for the teacher, then there's no point. Like, maybe school is not for everyone, maybe school should be voluntary, where the kid itself is asked every month if he still wants to go there. I don't know what the system should be. But, like, obviously, if a kid is attacking the teacher, then he's a bad example for the entire class, taking down everyone else. And on top of that, like, what if he doesn't want to be there? Like, why are we forcing him? Anyway, he can be autistic in prison. That's a good point. Yeah, like, there may be other people autistic that are in prison, and he may click with them. Right. Steam has decided to do something interesting this week. Valve has done two things. One of them really pissed off the left. The other one, not so much. So the thing that pissed off the left, and I'm looking at leftist shills, like, there's no reason to be pissed off. Like, you as a customer would appreciate this. But titles that are early access and haven't been touched in years now have a notification. So, like, Steam will place a notification on any title that haven't been released in that haven't received a new update in months, right? So, like, there's a lot of early access games where people pay money and they start playing, and then you realize that there's no new patches, there's no updates, right? And so Steam will tell you, it's like, okay, this game is in early access and hasn't received a patch in 8 months. And so a lot of leftists were upset on Blue Sky. They were very, raged about this decision, and I don't know why. Like, I as a customer can only benefit from it. Oh, it's rushing develop. Good. Yeah, and I'm a developer myself. I understand the situation. You know, like sometimes you have content creep. Maybe you have like some drama within your staff. Maybe, you know, a critical person, like an animator or an artist quits. And then you have to find a replacement. I don't fucking know. Some of them may be straight up grifts. But even I agreed. Like, yeah, if you haven't updated the game, you know, if you don't know for sure, don't make early access. I didn't make early access. I think early access is a cancer upon the industry. Unironically, I genuinely do. But it is what it is, you know. And so we're using early access. Good. And at least tell people that you haven't updated the game in ages. The other thing that they did, and this is a grift from Steam, but this is why it's important to point out that sometimes a grifter actually does good work. Like, you can have a grifter that's grifting and you benefit from it. So developers should not utilize paid advertising as a business model in their game, such as requiring players to watch or otherwise engage with advertising in order to play, or gating gameplay behind advertising. If your game's a business model relies on advertising on other platforms, you will need to remove those elements before shipping onto Steam. Some options you could consider include switching to a single purchase paid app or making your game free to play with optional upgrades, such as some DLC. Developers should not use advertising as a way to provide value to players, such as giving players a reward for watching or engaging with advertising in-game. Developers should not charge other developers for access to Steam features. These include sales pages, bundles, store pages, etc. Now, here's the interesting part. One game that tried this that I know, like first of all, let's talk about the PC games, and then we're going to talk about like phone games and shit. One game that tried this is Street Fighter 5, and it was so fucking cringe that they immediately got rid of it. And so in Street Fighter 5, there were two ways you could buy characters, stages, and costumes. The first way was to grind for fighting points. So you're like just playing the game and you're getting these points, kind of like in League of Legends, right? Or Dota, like well, not Dota, because Dota has all the heroes. But like in League of Legends, you play the game, you get like the currency, and eventually you use the currency to buy a character, right? But there was an option, which if you included it, you could see ads on the opponent characters. So like, for instance, you would fight against Balrog, and Balrog is a boxer with like big red gloves. And on the red gloves, you'd have like Coca-Cola. Or on his shorts, you would have Nike. And if you enable this, and the fighters like had the product placement on their skins, then you would get more fighting points. It was so unfathomably cringe that they got rid of it. And I think like they couldn't even find partners that were interested in sponsoring with that. But then you have like the other games that are phone games, various apps, right? And those actually do require for you to watch an ad before playing, and Steam is saying enough. Now, the reason I say it's a grift is because obviously Steam is ass hurt because they're not getting money. Like, if someone makes a game and then they make money from advertisement, well, Steam is not taking a cut, right? And so, like, Steam is grifting here because you can notice that there's also a controversy regarding CS, like Counter-Strike. I think it's like the new one that came out. And people are complaining about the items and the sales of items and shit and the gambling and blah, blah, blah. No one cares at Steam, right? Because they're getting a cut. But I, as a consumer, I, as a person that's not interested in this horseshit, I'm actually happy. It's like, yeah, why should I see advertisements in games? Right? If the game is free to play, that's another conversation. But if I already paid money to play a game, why do I need to see a Coca-Cola commercial? Like, what exactly is it that I personally benefit from it? Right? Like, if I don't benefit, then why do I need to be subjected to it? NBA tried that. See, the thing with NBA, it actually adds immersion. Like I gotta say, you know, when it comes to sports games, they're probably the only exception where you can add ads, and it wouldn't be a problem. Because you're playing a sports game and you're seeing like the Nikkei ad or the Coca-Cola ad, and it looks like an actual stadium. And so like that's actually fine. I don't know, like for me personally, it's like, it's not an issue. But like if you're playing, I don't know, not even Counter-Strike, you're playing XCOM, and all of a sudden you gotta watch a long ad. Like, no. People pay $80 to watch a UFC, and people get blasted with ads all the time. Yeah, and so, like, why do I have to put up with it? Look, everything that happens without my knowledge happens without my consent. I don't watch UFC, and so, by default, I didn't consent to that shit. I don't consent to people paying $80 to watch ads, alright? I didn't know it happens, and therefore it happened without my consent. I really love this argumentation, by the way. I'm going to use it a lot from now on. When someone, like you say something that you don't like, and someone says, well, yeah, but like that's already happening. And you're like, well, it happened without my knowledge, and therefore it happened without my consent. So assume from now on that anything that I don't know about is happening without my consent. Yes, there's probably like a kid suffering from leukemia getting a brain surgery. I didn't know about it. It's happening without my consent. It's actually from a villainous character called the Judge from a book. Really good book. Exceptions breed normality. Contempt is by armor. Well, it's not really it's more like why should I put up with it, right? Like if I pay for a product and you're trying to milk me of money, like what do I get in return? Because at the end of the day, I'm watching for my own interest. If I don't get anything back, who's going to watch for my interest if not me, right? Like no one else is going to advocate for my interest besides myself. And so you want to put ads in the game? That's great. What the fuck do I get in return? By the way, chat, I had this amazing idea while I was in bed this morning. I had like the amazing idea of making a podcast, but it's actually really expensive, and I don't have the money. But like, hopefully, someone out there is going to do it. You need a person that's rich and can have a studio. Like, it's important to have a studio for this, preferably one with a shower. And you need to like, go out and take like 5 prostitutes. I'm not talking about like, you know, the new definition of the word, like people that do OnlyFans, like some girl taking nudes of herself and uploading to the no, like actual women of low moral fiber, like ladies of the night, like well, from the street corner, right? Like get 5 prostitutes, and then take them onto the studio and sit them at the table and just start talking right-wing politics with them. Just start talking about philosophy, stoicism, right? And you're like literally just doing that, like nothing sexual or anything. You're just, well, no, because the Whatever podcast, like that one has OnlyFans girls, right? Like that's a different type. Like the thing is like the class, right? Like they have certain behavior, mannerisms, way of speaking, understanding, knowledge. I have a feeling that the women of low moral fiber like have a lot more wisdom and street smarts than a lot of the girls that do OnlyFans. Like, which is why I would be absolutely curious to see how they react to certain takes. You need to debate anyone that doesn't like him. He needs to debate anyone that doesn't like him. I think he would debate people. It's just that no one wants to debate him. Yellow Flash, welcome to the show. Women don't change until they have a family of their own. I don't know. Tell that to my wife because she's the same. In other words, like she was nice before and she's nice now. Like she's the same personality. Very chill. Doesn't engage in promiscuous activity. Only loves me. So like the way I found her is the way I'm keeping her. But anyway, right, let's look at this interesting take. As I mentioned before, Elon Musk has horrified the British government, right? So Elon Musk takes action after Kanye West posts pornography during a vile tweeting spree. Again, I emphasize that he posted the disgusting type of pornography involving real people, right? Like there were real people there. It wasn't like big, busty anime characters with thunderous thighs and big tits. It wasn't like Poison Ivy or Supergirl, you know, no. It was actual human beings fucking, and, you know, I can understand, I can tolerate, like, him, talking shit about various communities, talking bad things about Jewish people, but when it comes to, like, having porn recommendations on my timeline from Mr. Yi, no. Like, I had to draw a line. And I'm sorry, I will block you. So Elon Musk took action on Kanye West before the rapper deleted his own account following 3 days of horrific online rants. Like, again, this is something that I hope the British government is going to suppress, because they're basically exposing the weakness of the United Kingdom. Like, all Putin has to do is to get a keyboard and start tweeting about the Jews, and this horrifies the entire British population. Like, it completely demoralizes, paralyzes their economy. You know, it's nasty, nasty. So, like, how can you allow the kryptonite of the UK to be exposed like this? The 47-year-old rapper sparked calls for him to be banned from social media platform after declaring himself to be a Nazi, professing his love for Adolf, and claiming he had dominion over his wife Bianca Censori. I would like to point out that Bianca Censori, up till this day, has not denied this allegation. On Sunday, Elon took action after X user complained about Kanye being able to freely post pornography on his account. Given what he posted, his account is now classified as not safe for work. You should not be seeing that anymore, the businessman replied. Do people not know that Twitter allows, like, lewd content? Like Twitter is the only platform that I know which allows gore, right? Like every single fucking day I see like some smart ass person with the Ukrainian flag showing me a war crime, and I'm like, but why are you showing me this? It's like, well, because the Russians have invaded. No, I get it, but like, why are you showing me? Like, keep it to yourself. Just you know, like what are you doing here? So yeah, like you get to see the carnage. And then you have, like, not safe for work content as well. Like, Twitter allows these things. And the reason Twitter allows these things, because they've been grandfathered in. Like, this was how the internet used to be. Like, back in the day, I know that a lot of people have been traumatized by a generation of feminism. But back in the day, you would watch a Hollywood movie and you see big fat tits there. You'd watch Game of Thrones Season 1 and you see titties. A lot of American entertainment had sex for no reason, just out of the blue. And on the internet, you had, like, all sorts of nasty shit. And so, like, Twitter allows that, but you gotta mark it as sensitive content. And if you don't, your account gets suppressed. And so, like, if you go on Twitter and you're trying to find stuff, and you're trying to avoid seeing pornography, you're not going to see it. Like, I got 2 accounts, right? Like, I got one account where, I'm looking into entertainment, video games, type like that, and another account where I talk politics. I have never seen a not safe for work picture on my political account, ever. Like, you gotta go out of your way to find it. And so, like, seeing left-leaning people all of a sudden being shocked, oh my god, we saw heteronormative sex. We saw a man and a woman. That's traumatizing. Because I guarantee to you, if the woman had balls, the left wouldn't be so shocked. They would be like, oh, well, I mean, Kanye is stunning and brave for sharing such a powerful video. The thing that's really interesting is that you got like all these communities, right? And the communities are very profitable because at the end of the day, what is a community? You got an artist that's an independent creator, right? Like a person that draws. And he pays taxes for his country. He works for his country. He has his own business. He doesn't work in a cubicle at McDonald's. No, he draws. And there's like various artists drawing for various fandoms. And so like they go on these platforms and they get customers there, and in exchange they generate traffic for the platform. And what usually happens is like once a sufficient number of these people join, the platform gains renown, and then the normies come in. And once the normies come in, they want to kick all the artists and the previous people out. And this is what pisses me off, you know? It's like, can you please stop doing that shit? Like, they were there first. Leave them the fuck alone. I don't want the license to be in the internet, but the parents should not let their kids to use. I 100% agree that kids should not use Twitter. I don't even know why it's allowed. Like, it should be a verification for age and shit. Honestly, you know, people should, like, back in the day, I remember there was a game like Leisure Suit Larry, and you were asked questions about, like, general knowledge to see if you're an adult or a teenager, and if you didn't answer the quiz, you would fail. Maybe that's a good age gate, yeah. Not the normies is the parasite that leeches off the normies that does that. Probably, yeah. Kids should never be on the internet ever. Okay. Now, see, the problem is that I hate the word kids. Because when you say kids, like, you can think about a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, right? Like a toddler. Or you can think about a 17-year-old. A 17-year-old can know good from right from wrong. Can start understanding the world. Can be trialed as an adult. And so, I think he should be treated differently than a 3-year-old. So, like, in my opinion, up until the age of 16, absolutely no child on the internet. And after the age of 16, up until 18 with parental supervision. Because you're like a young adult, right? So, like, you need to learn how to use the internet. You need to understand. There's like an entire discussion about kids using internet that I'm actually shocked that people aren't having. In the sense that you need to tell little Billy, it's like, Billy, if you go on the internet, everything you say is now public record. Like, you can say some shit now, and 10 years from now, you can lose a job because, like, it's said that it's there. Like, everything you do is going to haunt you for the rest of your life. And so be very careful, Billy. Like, when you're on the internet, treat it as if it's official public documents. And the internet is bad. It's a very dangerous place, Billy. Extremely dangerous. There's furries out there willing to take advantage of you. Kids from a very young age should be taught how to use the internet? No. No, I actually realized that there's a lot of studies that show giving smartphones and tablets to kids is actually detrimental for them. Like, they really get distracted. Like the thing is, like, when a kid is young, he should actually... I know that I sound like a boomer, and I'm maybe not making sense, but kids actually have to go out and play. Like, they have to go out, explore, play with the animals, hurt themselves in the playground, come home with the boo-boo, you know, like that type of shit. It needs to happen because it's normal and it's healthy. If the kid stays at home and just plays video games or stays online, that actually affects his development and apparently can even increase the risk of autism. Not necessarily like the illness, but like they become introverted. And so if you look at France, I think France is one of the first European countries that does it, and many others will do it. They already banned smartphones within the premise of schools and shit. And the reason that I agree with this is because if I want to educate my kid, it's like, okay, no internet until you're 16. And so you give him a dumb phone, you talk to him on the dumb phone, he's not having like a computer screen or anything. He can go to class and other kids can mock him, ridicule him. It's like, why do you have a dumb phone? Like, we got smartphones and shit, right? So yeah, I mean, he can build animosity and spite towards you if he realizes that other parents are giving more to their kids and you're not, because like he's not going to understand. But anyway, like my take is that when the kid is 14 years old, I'll probably buy him a laptop and I'll install the games that I started playing with, Prince of Persia, Duke Nukem, like all the games of old. And then when he is 16, he's going to have supervised internet access. And at 18, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. I don't care. Get the fuck out of my house. Get a job. Fuck off. Pedro, they are doing the same in Brazil, banning smartphones from school. I mean, they are incredibly distracting. Kids can use them to cheat. Kids can use them to not pay attention in class. There's absolutely no reason why a kid should have a smartphone in school. You can start off slow with Wolfenstein. That's a good point. Yeah, I'll be like, okay, when you finish the game, I'll give you something else. I agree with no phone in school. The issue is a lot. Even secondary schools in the UK don't allow them during leisure time. Well, yeah. Build him a desktop. But why, though? Does he deserve a desktop? Why does he deserve a desktop? What has he done in order to be worthy of having a desktop? Huh? Should he get a desktop just because he's existing? Like, what other dreams and aspiration can he have if I give everything to him? No, he will not have a desktop. He will have a laptop. And so, anyway, going back to the Yi situation, Yi actually spurred out a little bit, talked about the Jewish people, posted some pornography, said that he's not assimilating to the simulation, he's a racist, he likes Adolf. And so, like, people assume that he is crazy. And what I love about this is that this actually happened under communism. Like, if you disagree with the system or the narrative, you must be mentally insane. Like, there's no other explanation, right? Because the communists were rational people, and they were the smartest people on earth, and therefore, like, they already found the truth. And so, if you don't agree with the truth, it means that you're lacking reason, right? So you must be insane, because no rational person would disagree with them. But the interesting part is, like, okay, let's take a hypothetical. Let's say you have a Japanese person, right? Like, can we imagine a person from Japan? A very happy young man, a very... let me see, hold on. Do I have a picture of a Japanese person? Japanese young man. I want to get a young man so that I can show it to the chat. I'm Googling it. All right, I found the Japanese young man. I need to get one that's more happy and smiling and outgoing so that we can crush his love, spirit, and aspirations. All right, so you got like this Japanese young man, right? Let's give him a name. What are Japanese names? Shinto, right? Whatever. Abe. His name is Abe. And you got Mr. Abe here, right? And Mr. Abe is a very energetic young man. He's very happy, and he starts associating. You know, he opens a business, and he starts associating with white people, right? And his business is successful. And all of a sudden, right, he notices that all the white people around him are trying to manipulate him in some way. Financially, emotionally, right? Like, they're trying to police what he can say, what he can't say, where he can go, where he can't go, what to support, what to not support. And would it be, you know, like, far-fetched to suggest that if this happens regularly, like, Mr. Abe may have a little bit of animosity towards white people due to the environment that he's raising himself in? Is that like a mental illness if due to his life experiences he develops prejudice because of the people that surround him are not really nice people, and they are constantly gaslighting him, saying that he's insane, saying that he's crazy, saying Here's the thing, I generally think that Kanye is actually the only celebrity that's free. And by this I mean, like, he's got fuck you money, so he doesn't fucking care, and this is how a celebrity will act. The reason other celebrities don't act like this is because they're managed by PR companies. Like, the PR company tells them, if you say this, you'll never work in the industry again. If you say that, you're right. Like, Kanye just doesn't have that. And basically, he is more like you would expect. Like, seriously, you know, you go on the internet, and on the internet, you go on Discord, and you see, like, some random people that are mods, or that manage to get in positions of power. Most of them are cheeky little shits, right? Like, most of them say outrageous shit. Most of them say outlandish stuff. And, like, that's normal, because that's what normal human beings do, right? Like, normal human beings are also assholes. But, like, we have to expect that celebrities never get to be an asshole. They always act in the perfect way, and that's fake. And it's fake because they have PR agencies. I was fully in support with V until the first crack appeared when his naked wife flooded my timeline. That was a brilliant move, by the way, because it got people to talk about him. I genuinely think that the reason he did it is to make Taylor Swift jealous, and also to get people to talk about him, because as a celebrity, you want people to talk about it. Like, he already has money, right? Like, now he just needs to be trending. Now here's why I think he actually showed the pornography. He wanted to get banned because at the end of the day, he actually closed his own account. And I think he wanted to get banned, but he wanted to get banned for porn. Like, he wanted to prove a point. He wanted to show, look, they're not going to ban me for showing pornography, but they're going to ban me for talking for making jokes about Jewish people, right? So like, look at the society we live in. Like you can show pornography, but you can't make jokes about the Jewish people. And like, I think that was his talking point, and I think like he was a little upset when he didn't get banned, and so he actually had to shut down his Twitter account. Now, again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just like using the pattern of behavior of Mr. Yi up until this point, the way he interacted, his ideology, his talking points, and I'm trying to make sure that it makes sense, because I don't want to be like, oh, he's crazy, he's insane. No. I'm actually trying to say, like, why would a rational person, like, I'm assuming he's rational, why would a rational person that believes in what Kanye Yi believes, why would he do that? Well, yeah, they're not against the TOS. He said 0 jokes about the Jews. Let me read what he said about the Jews. He didn't violate the TOS, which is why he didn't get banned. He said, I tour for the money. I'd rather be playing Last of Us Part 1 and 2, which was made by Jewish people. Good work, thank you. Let's see, another one. I think like he made a reference to... Oh yeah, the one where he praised Adolf, and he showed the T-shirt that has the symbol. Like it's actually illegal to buy it in Romania. I can't buy Kanye West's swastika T-shirt. It's illegal here. It's supporting extremist hate symbols. No. Which is interesting, because I look at the legislation in Romania and I always thought that the hammer and sickle is banned, but no. No, like you can actually have the hammer and sickle, but you can't have the happy wheel. Well, I never wanted to have the happy wheel, so therefore. Everything that exists in creations without my knowledge exists without my consent. The Romanian Judge V. It's such a fucking awesome quote. It is such an awesome quote that you finally debunk all of the people saying it's like, well, yeah, but this is already happening. Well, I didn't know it's happening, so therefore. He's obviously crazy. No one wants to play Last of Us 2. I fucking played it. It really pissed me off because, like, the gameplay is actually good. Like, the stealth mechanic is good. The executions are good. The gameplay is good. But the story is so fucking cringe. The story is so fucking shit, chat. Holy crap, right? And you're forced to watch through it. You're forced, like, in the beginning to spend 2 hours. And you gotta listen to all the LGBT people playing guitar. Like, I don't fucking know what happened in leftist bubbles, but, like, the guitar, like, everyone fucking loves that guitar. It's not even an electric guitar. It's just, like, a normal guitar. And like, they play all these lame songs. It's, ugh. You know, I see like a lot of people are upset over the Kingdom Come situation because it's got like gay romance in it and shit, and you know, like, what is woke is the question. And there was like a time where the Unity engine wanted to make it so that the developer has to pay more for the game based on the number of installs. And I finally figured out, like, look, if we implement this, then I will start playing woke games. You have a gay romance in the game, 100 installs. You talk shit about the community or you insult a player, 1,000 installs. You lecture people about pronouns, 1,000,000 installs. And that would actually fix the entire gaming industry. Like, you would manage to give gamers a voice. I'm so fucking pissy with woke games right now because of this, chat. I am so fucking upset. Okay, so there's this game that I actually wanted to fucking play. I was actually hyped for this game. I even saved money because I'm not doing that well financially this month. I need to pay my taxes, so I was like, you know what, I'll save some money because I genuinely want this. So I didn't buy it for $100. And I waited, and good God, I'm so lucky that I waited. So, Civ 7, right? Now, Civ 7 I saw that it's woke. And the reason, like, I immediately know it's woke because they hired one of those actresses that's in every single woke game, and if like that person like will not work with you unless you're woke. Like, there's no fucking way she would agree. And it's like Henriette Tubman or someone. Like, I'm not an American, I don't know the lore, but it's like she's now a leader for the United States, right? Henriette Tubman, whatever. And I was like, well, the game is woke. Fuck. Now, the reason that it's a problem is because, like, Civ is not really a story game. Like, you don't really care about the story. It's a 4X game, right? Like, it's... I mean, I would prefer if it's not woke, but, like, at the end of the day, the entertainment shouldn't be affected because you don't play it for the story. But I do know that woke people cannot create good games because woke people has, like, this feminine energy where you need to hire people that can generate favor rather than people that generate value, sorry. So, like, a coder that knows how to code, like, he generates value. He generates code. Zoe Quinn generates favor because she's got networking, she's got nepotism, right? So if you have a company of Zoe Quinns, you get a game that's filled with bugs, you get a disastrous launch, you get, like, all this shit. And so I was hoping that maybe it's not the case, you know, like maybe they will just, oh god, was I wrong? And here's like what I found out from the Steam reviews. Now take into account that the Steam reviews are actually given that by the people that spend $100 on this game. So like on top of that, on top of all the shit, they're also doing the bad business practice of enticing you to spend more so you can play it earlier, right? Like the game is supposed to launch in a couple of days. But if you pay $100, you can play it 1 week early. Like, disgusting business practice. Especially if the game has, like, a ladder, a multiplayer, whatever. So, like, this is the review by their hardcore fans. Like, these are people that unironically like the game. And so, from what they're saying is that the content is cut from the game. The game ends in the Cold War era. Like, no other Civ game that I can think of had this problem where it ends in the Cold War era. You don't get the future age. People are claiming that the UI is unfinished and counterintuitive. People are claiming that the map making is broken, like most of the maps are very small. The game barely has any content in it. The AI is retarded. And my god, was I hoping that this is not going to be the case. I was like, you know what, like this is like an IP that I like. Something that I like, you know, like, I'm not going to recommend it to other people, like, you know, you can pick it up if you want or not, like, it's just, like, my take. I was going to play this off the stream, but if it is what it is. Yeah, literally, they're going to chop it into DLCs, like, the game is barely announced, and they're already talking about, like, yeah, we're going to have, like, the future eras in DLCs. And I'm like, oh, fuck off. Just, like, seriously, fuck off. So tired of this shit. Why can't I just have some entertainment? That's the problem with DEI. It's not all the gay stuff. The gay stuff is to cover the real problem that they use to hire cronies. Yeah, that's pretty much the issue, right? Because the games are mediocre. And so, like, they will push a gay character in front, and if you don't like the game, they will say, oh, so it's because you're homophobic. It's like, no, I mean, maybe, I don't know. But, like, the game itself is something that I hate. Like, you haven't released the perfect game. What game is this? Civilization. I don't have a problem with playing gay games. Like, I keep saying this. That I'm not in the Christian car. I never was. Like, I made it as obvious as possible, and I constantly said, I'm not rolling with the Christian car. I'm in the entertainment car. The main reason I don't like woke games is because they're preachy, their women look like men, and they're not entertaining. That's it. Like, you guys need to thank sweet baby Jesus that woke games don't have women with big fat tits entertaining storylines, because then I wouldn't give a shit. Like, there are woke stuff that are actually good. Very few of them. Has-Been Hotel, for instance. Has-Been Hotel is good. Baldur's Gate 3 is good. I'm not like the one. It's like, oh yes, every time I buy something, I make like a conscientious decision, like how does this affect society because I'm playing a game. Oh, I'm buying Stalker. I am sending 5 tanks to Ukraine with my purchase. I'm not that mentally deficient, right? Like I'm not. No, I'm in the entertainment car. I always been in the entertainment car. I don't like the other cars. It's filled with Karens. But it just so happens that our roads align, you know? Like the wokeness in the video games is very bad. It's affecting entertainment. It's a huge downgrade. And this is why I'm against it. Also, the people that are there are absolute assholes. Like you have another thing that pisses me off is that the woke ideologues, they go on Twitter and they insult the entire gaming community. And I don't like that. Even if the other gaming community is in the Christian car, I don't want them to be insulted. Because they're gamers as well. I get to insult them, you don't. The developer gets to shut the fuck up. I'm the only one that gets to make fun of Melody Mac. The developer doesn't. I am the consumer. There's nothing wrong with being a consumer. Right? Like, I dedicate my life in order to raise my family, provide for my family, and make sure that my wife and son are happy. And then I provide taxes for the community. I'm doing my part as much as I think I should. Other than that, I need fucking entertainment so I don't go insane. Right? So I will actually buy products without thinking about the social, political implications of buying the fucking product. If you don't like it, make a better product. Here is for your taxes or buying the game. Dude, the game is $100, but I do appreciate it. I'm not buying it, though. I heard it's shit, so. Baldur's Gate 3 is the sexual harassment simulator. Yes, I survived Baldur's Gate 3. Oh my god, I remember like I played it in the beginning before they patched the horny characters, and that druid, even now haunts my dreams. You smell like boy, pussy boyo. What do you say that you and I go into the forest and do what animals do? To be fair, like the good thing about Baldur's Gate is that you can actually kill the companions. You can kill all of them. So, you gotta kill the vampire. Like the first thing that you need to do is like the vampire. No. Your camp is actually full of sex pests. Yes. I'm a producer and I refuse to sell eggs to consumers. Good luck getting eggs from the grocer. Is that like a threat or some shit? You can order eggs online. And you can even live without eggs. Like, that's fine. If you're like literally the only person on earth that has eggs, then I'll probably buy a chicken, which is literally what I'm doing. It's like some person says, "Oh, you don't like video games? Well, go watch porn." And I'm like, "Okay, you know what? Fine, I'll make my own video game. How about that?" Fuck off. Astarion is not like... I get what they're doing with the character. If I was a woman with big tits, I would probably like his character more. But like, I really hate in the beginning. It's so fucking cringe, the introduction where you're tumbling with him on the ground and stuff. And it's like, what are you doing? If you weren't a thief with the ability to picklock, you would get a bolt in your head. Just get the fuck off me. Right. I got like a really nice thing coming up. And it pisses me off that like for all these months, I didn't have this argument with me. And it's such a fucking amazing argument, right? Because you can sum up as this being Twitter last year. These new Jaguar cars are so ugly. I'm sorry that the car isn't attractive enough for you to want to have sex with it. Go watch porn instead. Have you not had this conversation before? Because I feel like I had this conversation before with at least 10,000 idiots on Twitter. Where you're looking at a female character and you're saying, well, like this female character is nice, is ugly as sin. And they're like, well, if you don't like it, go watch porn. And it's not like the female character is ugly. Like, usually the female character was a man with a wig. This is how people respond to criticism about woke gay characters' designs. Is this AI made? Ah. I was gonna open a sperm bank, but I realized I'd be serving consumers. Can anyone tell me, like, what exactly is wrong with consumerism? Like, how do you expect the economy to function? Like, the idea is for people to have jobs. Someone needs to buy shit. If people stop buying shit, the economy goes to shit. And so, like, well, obviously, you know, like, everything needs to be done in moderation. But, like, if someone has money, would you rather him hoard it? Or would you rather him spend it on some product so that it circulates in the economy? No, I'm like, legitimately asking, because I keep seeing, like, people saying it's a bad thing to be a consumer. And I'm like, I think it's a bad thing to hoard cash. If you hoard cash, then the economy suffers. If the money flows, then the economy benefits. Yeah, I think it's a communist argument, really. The whole consumer thing. I don't think it's a right-wing argument. Like, right-wingers were happy when people were consuming. Look at China. China encourages people to consume. It's not that we buy, it's what's being produced and promoted. Yeah, but, like, what do you care about what other people do? Like, if you want to have, you know, like, listen to classical music and Schopenhauer and, you know, like, play games that don't have any nudity in it, like, I guess, like, the problem with the games is actually, yeah, like, entertainment is completely woke. Like, you can't get away from it unless you play games from the past. But, like, with music, for instance, right? Like, you don't like the modern music. It's slop. Like, no one is forcing you to listen to slop. The thing is, like, let's spin it around, right? Because people are putting the cart in front of the horse. Like, let's assume that you are a producer, right? And you want to create classical music. Well, creating classical music requires probably hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's very expensive. Like, you need an entire orchestra. You need an entire stage, right? You need professional recording material. It's very expensive to create, right? And then when you sell it, how many people want to buy classical music? Now, let's talk about hip-hop. Like, hip-hop, you need a mic, you go into the mic, you go boom, boom, you know, you do the beatbox, the boom, 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 and then you talk about your pussy and how wet it is, and it sells millions of dollars. And so, you know, like, it's easy to sit on an armchair and, like, go like, oh, yeah, well, society doesn't produce good things, but when you actually look at it, like, would you invest? Would you invest in producing, not consuming? Like, would you be a producer of good things, knowing that there's barely a market for them and they're very expensive to produce? For most of history, women roles were always played by men with masks and wigs. So what's wrong with that? Well, what's wrong with that is that now we have the technology and the capabilities of actually creating a woman that looks like a woman. There's absolutely no fucking reason that I need to see a man with a wig. I actually started making my own music. Well, I was giving an example. But, like, yeah, if you make your own music, I mean, how many people are interested in buying it? Schopenhauer was bloody boring. No wonder V thinks it's a musician. Well, okay, fine. Beethoven, then. Like, Beethoven is not boring. I actually like Beethoven. Yeah, like, there's a reason why, like, jazz music failed. It's expensive to create. And there's barely an audience for it. And so, you get the twerking. Twerking is simple. It's cheap. Any woman can twerk. And they can make money off of it, right? So, like, that's why you have slop. Because it's cheaper to produce and more people like it. Consumer is someone who consumes for the sake of consuming. Every consume at some point, but aren't consumers not driving force in their life? Well, see, like, this is the problem with definitions on the internet. It's kind of the same with like porn, right? If someone like Ethan Van Sciver watches a naked woman, everyone says, "Oh, Kumar Brain addicted to porn." It's like, well, he watched one once, right? Like addicted, and a Kumar would mean that he consistently does it. Like his entire timeline should be filled with it. Like he would, right? But like the internet likes the extremes. Like every rhetoric needs to be dialed to 11, and nothing makes sense anymore. Like everything is an extreme. So like if you say consumerism, you buy one product, you're a consumer. Like for instance, by my logic, I barely buy any video games. I just don't have the cash or the time to play them. But my logic is that if it's entertaining, I will buy it. And people call me a consumer because of that. It's like, no, I'm sorry. I just don't make like an ideological purchase. Unless like there are like a couple of limits that I wouldn't go past. Like for instance, if the community manager shits on the gamers. Like that's it. That's a no buy from me. Unless the community manager gets fired, I know. But like I just want entertaining games, and so I play Path of Exile 2, and people are like, but it's from China. It's like, okay. Actually, opera theaters are quite regularly sold out, so people do spend a lot in the classical music. I guess it depends where you're from. Here they're not always sold out. And even then, right? Like let's assume that the opera theater is sold out. Okay. How many people does an opera theater have? 200, 300 if it's a big theater? Okay. Wet Ass Pussy, how many albums did it sell? Like, come on. Yeah. I actually do want to go see an opera theater now. I listen to opera music. I think rich people here like going to them to pretend they have class. I think it may be like a reason to go out, right? Because if you're in your 40s, like you're not going to go out clubbing. And so, you can go out and see your friends and meet at the opera. But I generally think, no, like opera music is kind of cool. I do like it. I like jazz music as well. And so, no, like I would actually go there because like listening to the actual instrument, it sounds different. And the acoustics and everything, it's a lot more cool than if you just sit at home and listen to it. And it's also fucking relaxing, like life is pretty stressful. Going to an opera theater and listening to music is something to unwind. So, yeah, maybe people do go because of the class, but like, let's be honest, does it really matter now? Like, if someone comes up to you and I went to opera, and like, who the fuck cares? A big opera theater has 2,000. Okay, well, 2,000 seats. Now, how many albums did Wet Ass Pussy sell? Right? Like, let's compare. If you're still buying into that series at this point, you have lowered your standards consistently. Well, yeah, I'm not getting the Civ 7. Like, the reviews are way too bad. I watched a couple of streams. And again, like, I'm not getting it not because of the wokeness. I'm not getting it because it's a bad game. Like, it's unfortunate. If they ever fix it, like, if they release DLC and the game becomes really cool and then it's a sale, right? It's like a 45% off, then I'll consider it. But the way that the game is presented now, absolutely not. People buying Velgar. See, I didn't buy Velgar. Again, it's not entertaining. Do you know what was a game that I bought and I considered it to be like at the limit of what I tolerate was Dragon Age Inquisition 3. And that one was pretty fucking woke, but it started. It's like when the gaming started getting woke. And I regret buying it because like the gameplay was bad, the grinding was awful, the female character romances weren't there. Like Liliana was sexy as fuck and you couldn't romance her. Who else did you had? You had Morrigan. You can't romance her either. There's no big titty waifu. Like, the entire game was just made so that if you're a heterosexual male, you don't get anything. Consumers buy Veilguard. Maybe they buy it because, like, they don't know what they're getting. I don't know. A lot of people don't stay online. Like, maybe they don't know the conversations we're having. Believe it or not. Like, my wife, for instance, has no idea. Like, she just watches Netflix and wonders, like, why is everything so bad? And it's like, well, hopefully it will improve. Consumers buy Call of Duty. I actually understand the Call of Duty purchase, right? I will explain how the Call of Duty purchase works. So, I like, at one point I never understood, like, why do people buy it every single fucking year, right? Like, it's not a big improvement. It's still the same fucking game. Minor changes. Why do people keep buying a new Call of Duty? Why do they keep buying a new FIFA? And the answer is because of friends. That's why. Because, like, most of these people are young adults who have, like, various gaming communities online. That they have, like, friends. And they play together. And so, the main issue is that if they don't buy it, their friends will play without them. And so it's mostly because with the power of friendship that sells. Outlaw normies? Yeah, it's not like to consume. It's not like, oh, well, they really need the new FIFA. It's more like if I don't buy it, I'm getting left out because, like, all my friends are buying it. Well, imagine it like this, right? Like, you're at the university or, like, a high school, and all of your colleagues, they're playing FIFA. And you're coming home, you play with them, and then the next day you go at school and you talk about it. Now, if you don't buy the new game, and they do, well, when you get at school, like, there's no one to talk to, because, like, they're already talking about their own stuff, they're already focused on their shit, and you're not there, so... Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, Same reason why people play League of Legends and Overwatch. Yeah, pretty much. Again, I'm not justifying it. I'm just observing the phenomenon. I'm just describing on why it's happening. But anyway, right, I think I hear my son crying, so I should actually go see what the hell is going on. Thank you for watching. I appreciate the super chats, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.